Hello, everyone. My name is Russell Bouye. I'm a community director here at UNT over Kurt Hall B Tower. And I want to take the time to just thank you all for joining us today for our RLA information session. So we're going to go through the different positions that we provide as a department. So if you have some pen and paper ready, go ahead and get that ready or take notes, something to take notes with. But don't worry, you'll be able to pause the recording if you need to stop to get the information. So I'm going to pass it along to Julie, and she's going to get us started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Telme. I'm a community director over Santa Fe and Traditions Hall. I use the she, her series and pronouns. And I just want to thank you as well for taking the time to go through this presentation with us. We are so glad you're here, and we're so glad that you're excited to join our team here in the Department of Housing and Residence Life. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping notes. You are able to pause the video as you feel necessary. And like Russell said, please feel free to take notes, pause it, jot things down, take screenshots, whatever you need to do. Feel free to write down questions as you go along. We're going to have an FAQ section on the website so that we can answer all of your questions weekly. If it's not answered there for some reason, feel free to email us at housingrecruitment@unt.edu so that we can get your questions answered so that you have all of the information that you need to make a decision on your position with us. And then keep in mind that after the video, there will be an associated quiz along with it, along with the material from the video. So once you've completed the quiz, we'll send you an email link to apply for the position, along with all of the due dates and how references work and all of that stuff, which will be explained later in the presentation. So just some things that we're going to go over, what positions are offered, what to expect from the position in terms of compensation. That's what everyone wants to know, right? And then more details about the different positions. So the RA position, the TAMS RA, being a living learning RA. We also offer housing ambassador and facility assistant positions. So we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about some restrictions on the position because it is very time consuming. So we're going to talk about that. And then we'll get into the details of the application process, how the application works, references, checking GPA, how the interview process works, and then our hiring process as a department. And then we will end with our contact information so that you can ask us any questions or send along any documents that you have. Awesome. So like I mentioned in the table of contents, we have different RLA positions offered within the department. So they're all under an umbrella of Residence Life Advisor. So we have resident assistants, and so you're in the hall with the residents. This also includes the TAMS RA and the LLC RA positions. And then we have housing ambassadors that are like frontline to current or future students and future residents and their families, giving tours and all that good stuff. And then facilities assistants, what it sounds like, they help run our facilities and keep everything looking beautiful. So some things to expect from the position in terms of compensation. You do have a room provided, regardless of what RLA position that you have with us. You do have a room provided, and that is valued at about $6,100. You have it for the whole academic year. It is private as available. So in the beginning of every school year, there may be a time where you do have a roommate. It may be 2 weeks, it may be longer, but we always try and provide our RLAs with a private room if available. We do offer you a meal plan. So that is a 7-day value plan. It's valued at about $4,000, and it also includes the 400 flex dollars. You can find more information on the value plan on the dining website. And then we also offer a stipend. So the room, the meal plan, and the stipend is all included. It's about $300 a month, and then you have an opportunity to work desk shifts in your hall or maybe some other halls as needed at the hourly rate. And then as you continue with our department, we actually offer pay increases with the experience. So that is something to note, that your stipend could increase through the years. Something to be very aware of is that we do have a cumulative GPA requirement. So you do need to maintain a 2.75 to apply, and then maintain it throughout your entire time in the position. If you're interested in being a TAMS RA, that GPA is a 3.0. Some other things that you need in order to apply: you must have lived on campus for at least one semester. And then we do have a return to campus date of August 1st, 2021. This is something to already make a note of and jot down, so that you know when you have to be back, and there are no exceptions to that. So you want to make sure you're available. Once you're offered the position, we will provide you with a finalized date so that you can make any travel plans and moving plans that you need. We do have fall and spring trainings required. So it's about 2 weeks in the fall, 1 week in the spring. And as a new staff member, you would not be able to miss training at all. So once we provide those dates, you need to make sure that your travel plans work around that. Any sort of personal family plans, friend plans, you can't miss training. So those things need to be jotted down in your calendar so that you are here with us. And then throughout the year, we offer extended training. So once weekly, your first semester, there will be all staff meetings, and those days and times are to be determined based on scheduling, but those are just continued professional development for you. And then this is for RAs and LLC RAs only. So if you're a TAMS RA, an FA, or an HA, this extended training doesn't apply. So that's something to note. And then the best part of the position is that you get to directly impact and shape the resident experience in a variety of ways. So whatever RLA position that you are chosen for, you will get to work with residents, and you will get to shape the way that they experience UNT within the residence halls. And that's an awesome experience for you as well. Amazing professional and life experience. So the transferable skills that you get are incredible. And so that's something that you can carry with you throughout whatever career that you choose, and your time after UNT. And then the last part, you're just a more active part of UNT. You have a really great community within the department. You meet people outside of the department that you work with, different resources, and you just become known on campus as a student leader. And so that's a really awesome perk of the position.
My name is Patrick. I serve as the community director for West Hall. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about the role of the resident assistant. One of the main components of being a resident assistant is building community, and you get to do so in a lot of different ways. Some big components of that are role modeling and mentoring your residents, forming interpersonal relationships. These two are particularly big in first-year halls, where you could be the very first person that a resident might be interacting with on campus. And then finally, participating in the residential curriculum model, which might more commonly be called the programming model that we use in the department. And then below, we also have a testimonial from one of our second-year RAs, Ruth Thunderhawk, that you're welcome to read yourself. So continuing into the role of the resident assistant, there's a bunch of different responsibilities that you have. Part of that is performing on-call and desk duties. What that really translates to is maintaining the health and safety of your community. You oftentimes have more evening work hours than HA or FA positions because of the desk shifts are 24 hours and on-calls go over the evening as well. However, the frequency of your on-call and desk hour availability, that could vary by hall. And then below, you can also find a testimonial from one of our RAs, Will Norton, as well. Another important thing to note when you're considering becoming a resident assistant is for the meeting and additional training times. So staff meetings occur every Tuesday in hall. That varies by staff because ultimately it comes down to when everybody is available. However, we recommend that you do not take any Tuesday evening classes and have no other responsibilities Tuesday evenings, so that hopefully everybody gets an early staff meeting time and can go home and get some sleep. We also have monthly all-staff meetings. The dates haven't been determined yet, but we typically have 3 per semester. They're really great. It's a chance for everybody to get together, learn some new things, and hopefully get some appreciation out there as well. You will also have one-on-one meetings with your supervisor. Those can either be weekly or bi-weekly depending on your supervisor. They typically take 30 minutes to an hour. You also have some Bridge App training and first-time RA classes. These typically get assigned throughout the year, and you would get more information about that once we get closer to the start of the semester. We also have another testimonial from Noah Mendez, who is currently a second-year RA. The last slide that I will share with you today is that this is going to be a 10-month position, starting from August 2021 to May 2022. There is a possibility for summer work generally, and then there is a reapplication process required for each year. So be prepared to keep track of how you have grown as an RA throughout the year so that you can best wow us and come back for another year. And then there's also another testimonial from Micah Barnes, who is currently a second-year RA.
My name is Chad Flinner, and I am the Assistant Community Director for Rollins Hall. I use the he, him, his pronouns, and I'm going to start us off talking a little bit about TAM's Resident Assistant. What does TAM stand for? It stands for Texas Academy of Mathematics and Science. And TAM's RAs are similar to other RAs, but these RAs work with specifically TAM students, which are academically gifted Texas high school juniors and seniors who are housed at McConnell Hall. Some of the big differences are room checks for all students at 11 p.m. on weekdays and 1 a.m. every other weekend. TAM's RAs have mandatory staff meetings on Wednesdays, participate in planning TAM's traditional events like prom, senior day, award ceremonies, homecoming, and etc. TAM's RAs are also responsible for driving TAM students to local community service projects. And in the process, those RAs must enroll in UNT van training that allows them to do so. Next, TAM's RAs will be involved in a one desk shift and one RA on call shift every 3 weeks. And there are closed weekends once a month where everyone is off. Next, I'm going to talk about living learning communities, also known as LLCs. LLCs are smaller major or interest-based communities within a hall, usually living together in a single wing. So for LLC RAs, there are different types of LLCs. The first category is an academic. And so we have the Art LLC, which is housed in Kerr, the Education LLC, which is also housed in Kerr, the Engineering LLC in Crumley, the Journalism LLC, which is in Kerr, the Media Arts LLC, which is also in Kerr, the Music LLC, which is in Bruce, Science LLC in Bruce, and then Marshall Eagles is in Rollins, which is essentially a small community of young men who share interest in the historical and cultural experiences of African males in the U.S. and kind of center themselves around academic excellence. And the next category of LLCs are interest. And so one of those is UNT Serves, which is also housed in Rollins Hall, and they center their living learning community around service and leadership. LLC RAs attend additional trainings focused on community needs, and LLC RAs also work with a UNT staff or faculty member, which is also known as an LLC advisor. So lastly here, we just have a few testimonies from LLC RAs currently. One of them is Alexa, who is a UNT Serves LLC RA at Rollins Hall. And then another testimony from Caitlin, who is a Media Arts LLC at Kerr Hall A Tower. And you are more than welcome to read those testimonies.
Hello, everyone. I am Jessica. I'm an assistant community director for Kerr Hall. and I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Housing Ambassador and Facility Assistant positions. So the Housing Ambassadors are essentially frontline customer service representatives for housing. So they assist with concerns and questions by phone, email, and in person. They work in the Welcome Center that's actually right next door to Joe Green and Kerr Hall. They also work a majority of the regular business hours, so 15 to 20 hours a week between 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then they also assist with University Day and Preview Weekend. And then here is a wonderful testimony from Caitlin Ingram, who is a Housing Ambassador. All right, so Housing Ambassadors also provide tours for the Residence Hall to prospective students and their families. So this includes evening and weekend tours whenever they're on call, so outside of the 8 to 5 working hours. And this position is a 12-month position, unlike the RA position, which is 10 months. So also, the tour rooms that are seen for residents and their families are the actual Housing Ambassador rooms. So you have to keep your room clean and presentable at all times. And then here is a Housing Ambassador testimony from Hannah. All right, so facility assistants. They complete lower level maintenance requests for halls. So typically, whenever someone needs to have a broken towel bar replaced, or they need to have some paint done to some rooms and things of that nature, or is moving furniture around for offices and apartments within the apartment, that's what the FAs do. And there's a willingness to provide physical labor required, and you do not need experience. So we have two testimonies on this slide. One is from Gage Jones, who is a Joe Green FA, and then we have Gabe Gomez, who is a Maple Hall FA. And lastly, facility assistants do not perform on-calls, and this position is also a 12-month position, which will start in May of 2021 to go to April of 2022. And they work shifts, take place between 8 to 5 as well, with some evenings and weekends. They work 15 to 20 hours per week during the academic year, and then during the summer, they can work 40 hours a week, hourly pay. And then we also have a testimony from Sabrina, who is a Clark Hall FA. And then we also have a testimony from Gabby Harper, who is a Kerr Hall FA.
My name is Megan Fitzgerald. I'm the Community Director at Joe Green Hall, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm going to be talking with you all today about the RLA restrictions as well as the application process. So for the first semester RLA restrictions, first years cannot have off-campus jobs outside of their RLA position. So if you are a first year RLA, you can work at the front desk up to 10 hours max, but returning RLAs must seek permission from their supervisor to hold jobs that do not exceed the 10-hour limit. And when you do have that job, you can talk about it with your supervisor one-on-one. The first semester RLA restrictions also include you cannot take more than 16 semester credit hours your first semester. Returning RLAs can be a little bit different. They may take more pending special permission through your supervisor. The RAs must receive special permission to take a class that ends or begins after 6 p.m. due to the on-call and staff meetings that Patrick said previously in the presentation. All right, so the RLA application process. So this is a 3-part process. So what I would do right now, if you can pause the video and take a picture of this or write down some notes, because these are very important dates that I'm going to be going over with you. So first is the application submission. So the application, will be emailed to you on November 6, 2020. That date may vary depending, so please be very patient with us. And if you do have questions, you can always contact the Housing Recruitment email. The application will then be due December 4th, 2020. And we will be going over references as well, but your references are due December 18th, 2020. And then your GPA checks will begin January 8th, and that should be 2021. But they will be happening in the beginning of the spring semester. So you will also be notified if you're moving forward in the process by January 15th of 2021. So keep this in mind is if you do go through the application process, you will sign up for individual interviews. So our signups begin January 21st, 2021 and the 22nd. Please make sure that you sign up for an interview on time. If you do not sign up for an interview, you will lose the opportunity to be able to interview for our process. And then once you sign up for an interview, the actual interviews will begin February 10th through the 13th. And then after that, you are pretty much done with the process, and then the hiring begins. So you will know if you receive a position at the late February, early March time span. Okay, so I previously said that you will have references. So part of the online application process is the applicant's responsibility to make sure that they receive good references to turn in on time. So we do have some general tips for you. So please know your references well. This is incredibly important because we don't want you to ask someone completely random that may not have a lot of good things to say or may not have anything to say because they don't know you. So when you do ask a reference, make sure that you ask them first. Would you be willing to serve as a positive reference? Please make sure that you ask them for a positive reference. We have had students in the past that ask for references, but they haven't been the best references in the past and probably should have asked somebody else. So that is incredibly important. Also follow up with them politely in a timely fashion, maybe about 5 to 4 days before the application is due. Their references is due. You want to ask them again, hey, just checking up, making sure that you got my reference and you were able to turn it in. And because remember, the references need to be turned in on time for you to continue with our process. All right, and then we do have a few things regarding the references of what you will need in order for a reference to qualify. So you need at least 2 of the required references. So we call them primary references. So these include the assistant or a community director or the community director. If you know the full-time desk clerk, this cannot be a part-time desk clerk. So make sure that you know the full-time desk clerk. That can be day or night. On-campus employers, UNT professional staff. If you are really close with the professor, you can absolutely use a professor. Off-campus employers. So if you've had an off-campus job before you came to UNT, you're more than welcome to use them. Community service leaders, church group leaders, if you're involved with anything, and then high school teachers. Those are our required references, and you need 2 of those. So primary references that you're allowed to use when you apply for the position. We do allow you to turn in a 3rd reference. This is optional, but let's say that you are very close with your RA or your HA or your FRA and you know that they have a lot of good things to say about you. You are more than welcome to turn this in as a 3rd reference. However, this will not count towards your 2 primary references that you need in order to continue in the process. So making sure that you have your 2 primary references first, and then your 3rd reference can be someone that is very supportive of you and that you can count on to really say some good things about you. So the references that you cannot have are family members, family friends, a peer, so no significant others, no best friends or anything. We need people that you've actually worked with to tell us about your work experience. A non-res life student leader, and then a non-professional type relationship. Like I said, significant others or anything like that. So these are the requirements for references. So I would take a picture of this as well, just so you have an idea of who you should ask for your references. So now I'm going to pass it on over to Russell, and he's going to talk to you all about the rest of the process.
Hello again, everyone. So we're going to move on and talk a little bit about the GPA in regard to the application process. So to apply for an RLA position, you must have at least a 2.75 cumulative college GPA. So for you first-year students or freshmen, your current GPA is likely to be a cumulative GPA. You must maintain a 2.75 semester GPA during the application process. And at the end of the spring 21 semester, if you are hired but you do not maintain a 2.75 GPA, we will have to rescind the RLA offer, meaning you will not be able to continue to be on to be an RLA even if you were offered before because you did not meet the GPA requirement. And so for transfer students, remember you must be currently enrolled at UNT, and you also must have lived on campus at UNT for at least one semester. And the reason for that is because as RAs, they're supposed to model the expectation and be a mentor and a model to our residents. So if you have never lived on campus here with our students, how could you be that for students that are coming in after you, right? So what may keep you from moving on in the process? If you have an incomplete online application, you do not submit any references, or the references do not count towards the references that Megan previously mentioned. If you have negative references, so the reference says do not hire or they would not recommend you for the position, that we take that into consideration. If your cumulative GPA fell below a 2.75, and again, just a reminder for freshmen, your current GPA is likely to be a cumulative. You've not lived on campus for one semester because we do check that in our records in our systems. If you did not sufficiently answer the questions properly, and if any of the answers may seem to have inappropriate or incomplete. So those are all the things that can keep you from moving forward on in the process. So you want to make sure that everything is complete. You have positive references, you have the right amount of references, you have the right GPA, you've lived on campus, and you are thorough and you take some time to think about the responses to the questions in the application. So interviews. So interview signups. You will sign up for a 3-hour time block to interview via an online survey that will be sent out to you before or by January 22nd, 2021. So please make sure you're available for the entire duration of the time block, even if you may not take the whole time. And interviews will take place the dates of February 10th through the 13th. And so information regarding video interviews will be sent out in January because we do realize some people, this may be your first time interviewing for a job. So we want to help you by presenting you with tools that could help you be successful in this interview process. And then you can take those skills on into when you're interviewing for other things moving forward. So interviews. So we got to the interview, right? You did a complete application. You signed up for an interview. So it's interview day. So we're going to talk about how you dress and how you're supposed to present yourself. So making sure that your interview attire is business casual, and some examples for that could be nice pants and a nice polo blouse or button down, or skirt or dress, and closed-toed shoes. Now, we don't expect you to go out and buy a new suit or buy clothes if you do not have the means. But if you have nice pants, that could even mean blue jeans, but making sure that those blue jeans are presentable, that there are no holes, they're not stressed, they're not acid washed, but they are regular jeans with some nice shoes and a nice shirt, that is acceptable. You can go above and beyond if you want to. Suit jackets and ties are not required, but if you want to wear them, you can choose to do so. But most importantly, we want you to be comfortable because you're the one that's going to be sitting in front of us in the interview. So if you're pulling at your clothes because it might be a little tight or different things like that, we can tell as interviewers if you are comfortable and if you're not comfortable. So we want to stress to make sure that you are comfortable and you do not have to break the bank in order to present yourself professional enough for our interviews. So in the interview, relax, be honest, and most important, be yourself. We're not looking for a one-size-fits-all type of person, so don't feel like you need to portray yourself differently than who you are. Myself, I am a hiring manager for the RA position. I look for people that are different because specifically, I like to hire people that are different because my demographic in my building is going to be different. So I don't want too much of the same thing because everyone may not connect to that. So it's very important, and I want to stress the fact to just be yourself. But be prepared to speak about yourself and your experiences. We, as a hiring manager, we want to learn a little bit about who you are, but we also want to know about your experiences and how your previous experiences have helped prepare you to be in a role such as an RLA. And so interviews. And so for the interviews, understand that professional resume and interview help is available through the Career Center. Utilize those resources because I can tell the fact when looking at resumes if they went to the Career Center or if they did not. And so we are aware that for some of you, this is your first job interview, and that's perfectly okay. That is why we're presenting you with tools and resources to help you be prepared so that you can put your best forward. So after the interviews, so you're done with your process. So after you interview, you are essentially done. But the next steps in the process will be the roundtable or hiring process. So what is the roundtable? As I said, you're not involved in this part. So you're done after the interviews until you receive an update. But this will occur in late February. And so you won't know if you're selected until after this date. So please be patient. Please bear with us because all the community directors and all of the assistant community directors and our assistant directors in the department, we all come together, we review the entire candidates, we review every candidate, we review the questions, we review the different types of interviews that took place. So it takes a minute. So be patient, give us time because we want to make sure that we as hiring managers are selecting the best candidates for our team. So how do job offers work? You will receive an email with notice of whether you have received a job offer. So keep in mind with that email, making sure that it is an email that you check. You will only get one offer spanning all RLA positions. So if you notated on your application that you want to be an RA, HA, and FA, but you get selected to be an RA, that is the position that you've been offered. So if you decline that offer, if you turn it down, you will be taking off of the alternate list and someone else will be selected. And in regards to our alternate list, we do have a large pool because different things happen. Other RAs may not have the GPA requirement, so they may not be able to continue. They may go on to other opportunities because they get really good internships that may be better fit for their career path. There may be some other applicants that may not make the grade process. So we do have an alternate list. And so if you are selected to be on our alternate list, that candidate pool is open for 1 year from the hiring process. So we may call you at any point in time and offer you a job if we need you. There have been times it happens every year that literally a couple days before everyone is supposed to come back, someone has to hire. So if you do get on the alternate list, it is okay. Don't look at that as a no. That is an opportunity that could present itself later on down the road for you. So if you are offered the alternate list, I recommend that you accept it and you stay on it because you do have a choice in that. So what if I don't get hired? So if you're not hired away, as I said before, you might be placed on an alternate list. You might be. So that is not a guarantee. But the candidate pool is open from 1 year from the hiring process. So we may call and offer you a job if we need you. So, and if you do not make the alternate list, we do encourage you to continue to apply again for the next year if that's something that you would like to do. Here is some of our contact information. So if you have any questions about the RLA process, it should be directed to housingrecruitment@unt.edu. Please make sure that you scan the QR code below to access the quiz. In order to receive your application, you have to complete the quiz. It's not too long, it's not too extensive, but in order for you to do that, in order for you to receive the application, you must complete the quiz. And again, here's our contact information in case you have any questions, and they should be directed to housingrecruitment@unt.edu. So we want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us today. But before you go, and from all of us at the Mean Green Bunch, we want to say we just can't wait to work with you. Bye, everybody.
Here's the story of a lovely lady was bringing up 3 very lovely girls. All of them had hair gold, like their mother, the the youngest one.
Yo, how do I stop this?